Ready!
กันรับ
Hello, my little ducks. Are you ready for a sweet adventure? Last time on Dragon Ball Z, drawing Inktober, we finished day 1 through 7, which was a pretty smooth week for me. At this time, I had the energy to get it done in the morning and finish editing out most of what I recorded, so it was a video that was under 60 seconds, which is not ideal for someone who wants to show off all the good parts, even the mistakes. Week 2 was just about the same energy level since I had already prepared most of my folders with references, which I did for all of them, but these were more thought out. So why don't we revisit the Inktober list? Remember, I did the theme of magical girls so I would stay focused. Okay, are you ready to start? Well then, here we go! So this was another easy choice since Toad kind of reminds me of the story of the Frog Prince. And guess which magical girl had a scene like that? Well, as you can see, it was Hyper Blossom from Powerpuff Girls Z, another series that I'm very well acquainted with. Powerpuff Girls is my favorite cartoon, so I wasn't surprised to know that Japan also loves superpowered crime-fighting girls too. I have practiced this style of anime for a while now, so it was easier for me to get most of the expressions and poses in the way I wanted. In one of the episodes, Momoko kissed a frog thinking it was a prince. So I was inspired to recreate this moment. Sort of. I wanted to feel like she met the toad, frog, without the others, and she was ready to kiss him without anyone stopping her. Which made me draw the scene as if they were in a park about to do the deed. But as I mentioned before, settings aren't always my strong suit, which is perfectly fine. You can't be 100% in everything, but it's still important to try it out. So of course, I was more focused on the characters, getting the detail just right, figuring out which mouth I wanted to make her feel more awkward to do the kiss, etc., etc. I at least had an outline for how I wanted the bench to behave, but still didn't feel like it followed the perspective that well. I definitely needed to practice some more still life, or at least understand vanishing points if I want to get better at backgrounds. Still don't know how confident I am with the pen, but I also considered I was out of practice. So this piece gave me a confidence boost on drawing some pieces horizontally. However, still don't like that bench, and it looks like I only added detail on the side of the wood, but not the top. Well, something to keep working at. I give this piece 4 out of 5. It's great! I decided to put in magical girls that aren't just from anime, starting with Musa from Wings Club. Wings Club has the mechanics of a magical girl show, so it wasn't too hard to pick a character from it. I've always been a fan of Musa, and bounce, like bouncing beats, fits so well. The pose was referenced from a masculine person, so it was a bit of a challenge to get the figure just right. And since I had taped down my paper, I couldn't turn it to actually get it the way I wanted. Most times, I move my canvas around to see all my flaws a little better, but I wanted to look like I knew what I was doing. So I made a creative decision to make Musa's skirt stay up even if the position would make it fall down. I like to say it was fairy magic at play. I also decided to do her first transformation since I really liked her short hair. Usually as a dancer, you want your hair out of the way, so it makes sense to keep it short. Oh, there's me having to go in front of my desk in order to get the face right. I really couldn't wrap my head around how it was going to look from that position, so I just got up and filmed it from the other side. I believe inking this one was alright, especially since I got to use a blue pen afterwards. Though this piece doesn't look too bad, I still felt a bit dissatisfied with the end results. The stereo system was supposed to tie the piece together and make it look like loud music was playing, but it looks kinda ugly now. Not my best scenery, so really dragged it down for me. 2 out of 5. It's a pass, just barely. This day I really needed to bring up my A game since it was a beloved magical girl series. Card captor Sakura is that mainstream magical girl everyone likes, so I was a bit nervous to do it. I picked a simple but curved line of action while adding fun elements for me to try. I found a card position with a person covering their face with the cards, and I thought this would be so cool for Sakura. Funny that Sakura is a magical girl who doesn't transform, so she has tons of outfits to pick from. Yet I still picked the one with ruffles because I really wanted to practice ruffles, and I just hate myself. Plus, I felt this was her recognizable look, and that would allow people to connect with it. I was having a bit of a struggle with the hand I wanted to hold the wand, and tried using my hand as per usual. It didn't go so well, so I looked up references on fist holding something. I think it worked out alright, and I still got to use the ruler afterwards. Though I haven't watched all of the series, I do remember watching one of the movies on repeat from my childhood. It was super cool, even if I didn't fully understand what was going on. Back in the day, anime wasn't the easiest to find, so you worked with what you could get. A piece that I liked very much and felt it captured what I wanted. Still felt I played it too safe, but I don't know what I could have done with the bottom to keep the card position I wanted. The cards and the face were the main show, and now that I think about it, it would have been better to do a close-up piece. 4 out of 5. It's great, but a close-up would have been better. So remember what I said about needing to turn the page to stop the mistakes? Well, here's an example, because I needed to start this piece over because I made Princess fine and Princess run too big. That's one of the reasons why I have my big eraser too. Once I got the sizing right, I was able to execute my idea of them going around the planet. I wasn't looking forward to doing all the detail on both the girls, so since they were twins, I decided to do Fine in her normal attire and Run in her transformed look. Because the series is about a pair of twins, I knew I needed to do both of them, or it would feel incomplete. Fine is the most elegant of the girls, so I figured why not put her in the more reserved outfit. It was also the lesser of two evils, so she got done at a good pace. Run is usually the more sportsy princess, so I needed to put her in the transform look to complete the yin and yang feel of the piece. Still, I gave her a running pose, which meant most of it was going to be covered. However, I'm glad I put the structure together, otherwise it would be hard to know how the dress would lay. Yet, that still didn't prepare me for how much detail was in that dress. Again, when you work smaller, you need to get rid of details in order for it to look good. But I'm always determined to get as much detail in as possible, because a part of me is always afraid of it not looking good or right to people. Telling you my perfectionism is the one thing that's holding me back from getting more things done. Very stupid and sad of me. I also put some stars to make it show they were technically alien princesses in space. Inking wasn't my favorite for the piece, only because I felt I was messing up all the details I just made. Though I can't say it was my favorite of the week, it still had some great potential, and once I get more skilled, I hope to return to this piece on a bigger paper. My favorite part about this piece is you can flip it and it turns right side up doing the yin and yang like I wanted. 3 out of 5, good enough, but the details were killer. For this one, I knew I was going to cover a more mature magical girl series, and Cutie Honey was the perfect choice. Disclaimer right now. I'm doing Cutie Honey's old design, but at the age of her newer series. I honestly didn't know she was 16 in the first one, and I thought she was always 21. Oh, what you could get away with in the early days of entertainment. So yeah, young adult one. If you have seen any of the openings for this series, then you know why I chose suggestive poses. I wanted to pay homage to it with these pieces. As per usual, getting the structure of the body is the most important thing before you can cover it up. Guess these could be called doll bodies because dolls usually don't have the details to make them look lewd. I worked on the bottom first because I wanted to get the ribs down and make it appear less nude, even if it's the opposite effect. Once the area was done, I worked on the feet. In my reference, the feet were out, but Honey has heels, so needed to make sure I got the angle just right. Believe me, my determination to not mess up the feet was strong with this one, because I changed the foot position to make it easier on me. There was no way this face wasn't going to be lewd, so I just embraced it and tried to get the hair looking spiky and full. On to the top, Honey. I was looking at the opening a lot while drawing this, so I was able to figure out how the top should rip. I didn't have to change the feet for this one, and just added the pointed tips and heels. The expression I wanted for this one was going to be more embarrassed because it felt like most people get nervous to show their chest. Truly it shouldn't be, but with how Hollywood has made it that boobs are so taboo in media, everyone gets more nervous to show them. Free the boobas for all the peoples with tits. Anyway, the inking made this piece my favorite of the week, especially since I learned how to use black ink to leave empty space. I didn't have a white gel pen handy, so I needed to learn how to keep the details with those black pens. Again, this piece was too good for me, and I wish I had markers to give it that 70s feel. I love learning how to color by using an old art technique with this drawing, and it got better whenever I needed to use it. My favorite parts are totally the ribs and the pants area. 5 out of 5. Wow, I arted. So this was a pretty simple drawing, and though nobody is rising in the literal sense, I felt that Mommy from Makoto Magical scene made the darker parts of Magical Girls rise. I decided it should be more of a close-up, but didn't want to fully show her face. I wanted it to be delicate by doing the skirt lift, but everyone in anime knows if a girl raises her skirt, something deadly is coming out of there. The details were a lot easier to get, but I still felt the skirt could have used another passing since I couldn't tell which one was the back. Definitely needed some shading for that. The corset was probably my favorite of Mommy's design, so I studied it the most. Did any of you guys feel like there were a lot more darker Magical Girls series after Madoka came out? Of course, Magical Girls covered dark topics before, but it felt like some of the shows afterwards didn't understand how to go back to a subtle story. Really do miss the days of magical creatures and cute romances, while also bringing up girls who could be tough or girly in their own way. Anyways, decided to hint at what was going to happen soon by showing the marks near her head. Still don't know if it would have been better as a dash line or the solid line, but it's too late now. The hair curls are pretty easy once you figure out that it's like ribbons or boxes. Then you connect them at certain points. Lastly, I put any detail that I missed, like her guns at the bottom, and inked it as normally as possible. Honestly, this piece isn't bad. I do love it, but it's just too predictable. Most people draw this scene because it really did leave an impact on them, but I had no other ideas at the time. However, I am very happy with the hinted witch in the background and the details. I give it a 3 out of 5. Good enough. Alright, we are finally at the end, and unfortunately, it wasn't fully focused on the magical girl of choice. I really got to explore perspective with this one because it was the Moon Kingdom from Sailor Moon. So I drew Princess Serenity in the corner and put as much time into her as possible before I needed to work on the freaking castle. Ugh. I messed up on the angle, but I fixed it pretty quickly because I wanted to make her look off into the distance at her home. We all know she would rather be on Earth with Prince and Demian. So even though I had a nice setting for day 2, I had my doubts I could pull it off. This was more fine-tuned shapes, and it had been a while since I'd done 3D shapes. Ruler came in handy for this piece because I knew I wasn't going to get it done if I didn't use it. I just noticed I really don't know what to do with my other hand when it's not in use. Looks so limp and dead. Okay, back on topic. The Moon Kingdom has come in different forms in the past, so I tried to stick with one. Otherwise, I would be a confused mess. I tried my hardest to pretend all the pieces were just basic shapes in order for me to understand it. The basics and fundamentals really come into play when you are working on settings too. The background was simple trees, and now that I see the ground in this recording, I'm mad about my inking. And the pillars were next in line. I believe somewhere in the process, I noticed that Usagi's lampo is not lined up with the rest of them, so that's another thing I'm adding to the list. Truly, this piece could have been a little different if I had just been sure of myself. And I'm disappointed in this drawing. But also at the same time, I'm proud that I took on the challenge to draw the whole castle. The worst thing for me is the ground. It was well placed in the drawing stage, but inking messed it up. Anyways, I give this 2 out of 5. It's a pass, but not quite there. Well, that was week 2. And it turned out better than week 1 since only 2 got a bad score for me. Thank you for watching this. I know it's not Powerpuff Girl related, but I really wanted to do some of my other interests. Don't worry, Powerpuff Girl stuff will come back, but until then, please like, comment, and subscribe because I hope to give you more content. Until then, keep moving forward, my little dots. Your sugary journey is arising.